uh, it's just a force or an energy or an experience. But for you, you have given it a form for yourself.
Yes.
As the Celestial Mother.
Right.
How did that come about?
So, one of my life's core values is truth. In on the 1st of January 2011, I promised myself I will never utter a lie, whatever be the price. And so I will tell you truthfully why Divine Mother first. And then briefly about my experience, whatever I can share. If I share a lot, then I need time to myself. I think I may have touched upon it, but when I left my physical mother, I thought, what's the greatest gift I could give her? What's the best I could do? Now that I'm away and she's really wondering where I am, because I never told anybody where I was going, so cruelly I left everybody behind, which in hindsight might be a foolish way of doing things, but we all do dumb things.
It was like the Buddha,
yes.
Actually, now that you mentioned Buddha. So he left too, right?
True. So I thought, let me pray to God in the form of mother. Because there is a saying, Kuputro jayet kvachidapi kumata na bhavati. That a son may be a bad son, but a mother is never really a bad mother. Even if she doesn't do anything for you, still she gave you birth. She brought you here. So this was my gratitude to my mother.
Okay.
And in terms of my experience with her, I think I would need people who are devoted to Divine Mother to understand my experience, because it's very subjective experience. It has no objective reality. If I share that experience, it would at the best will sound like a hallucination to somebody. I need somebody who's in love. I don't want a psychiatrist.
Right.
Right? You see the difference?
Yes.
So if somebody's in love with the notion of God, with such a person, if I sat down and I narrated the glories of Divine Mother, it would be very different. Here, it would just be flowing from this mind, which is pointless, I feel, because it is doing injustice to this audience, to bore them with what my experience was. But I can tell you one thing though. I can tell you one thing with absolute conviction and certainty. I already shared with you my definition of the divine. God exists. And somebody who doesn't believe in the presence of God, I'm okay with that as long as they are kind. I always feel
Yes.
whatever makes you a kinder human being, it's a good philosophy. It's a good path. Walk it.
Absolutely.
The world is better off with non-religious kind people than with religious fanatics. Look at all the
Absolutely. Yes.
the violence that is happening in the world. Religious people are at the root of it. They should be cleaned first, I feel. But so I was telling you, God exists, and to a devotee, the advent of God is same like the growing of a tree out of the ground. You put a seed and suddenly you see this tree growing. It's not eating the mud, the earth. Put it in a pot and the earth is still there. If you're giving it 200 grams of 20 whatever liters of water in 4 days, 5 days, it's not growing at that pace. Most of it is evaporating. What is causing the growth of that plant? Air, sunlight, that chlorophyll process, or what is it?
Right.
Similarly, when you have the seed of devotion, the universe takes on a form for you. And it's incredibly liberating, because then you realize you have the whole universe with you. What do you need from this world? when.
Being kind. What is being kind? Isn't it just being human? That's your essence, isn't it?
So true. And I think I recently wrote or spoke. Sometimes people come to me and say, why is this bad thing happening to me? I've been so kind to everybody. I've always done good things to people. And I say, okay, so you should be doing bad things to people. Is that a good enough a qualification that you've always been good to people? I think that's expected.
Right.
So being kind is understanding that the person across perhaps hasn't had the same advantage that you had in your life, and therefore what is the best I can do for this individual. It is making a difference to one person as opposed to trying to make a difference to the whole world.